What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to stay at daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified for every single time I upload a brand new video. It's been a very long time since I've said that, about 2 weeks, and hopefully y'all enjoyed the top 10 greatest Ravens of all time. I enjoyed making it. And let me know what your thoughts are. Obviously on the number one player, spoiler alert, it's Ray Lewis. No, shouldn't really be a spoiler. You should already know that. But obviously, I came back from vacation. This is the first video I'm putting out. There's so many things that I want to announce and tell all of y'all. I may make just a complete individual video, so I'm not going to do it in this video. All I'm going to say is make sure to come to the live with the viewers this Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to be a part of the stream and be a guest on the show, email trustthebank@gmail.com. I set up an email for that. You can email it, with any questions you ever have or anything like that. But if you ever want to be a part of the stream or come on the show or whatever, that's resend the email. So email at trustthebank or email trustthebank@gmail.com if you want to be a part of the live with the viewers. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's the return. And we'll be able to go through all the announcements and things like that on stream. Now that the intro is out of the way, it's time to talk about Lamar Jackson's contract situation, because if y'all don't know, Pro Football Talk, they tweeted on the 4th of July and they said, amid confusion over who's helping him and negotiate a life-changing deal with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's negotiations are going smoothly so far. Then Sarah Ellison, shout out to Sarah Ellison, had a brilliant quote tweet over that, and she said, "Confusion. What's confusing about Lamar Jackson wanting to keep negotiations private? No agent keeps people out of his business. Notice how media leaks, and he becomes the master of his financial destiny. And why add so far? Hope nobody's rooting for a bad deal to prove a point." So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson and his contract negotiations and things like that. Now, obviously, I'm not in the Ravens front office. I don't know. I can't tell you the numbers that they're talking about. Nobody can besides Lamar's mom, and probably Eric DaCosta, and maybe Ozzie Newsome is in, kind of helping out with that. Like, that's probably all that there is. Maybe Steve Bisciotti as well. But the numbers is not the point of what I'm trying to talk about. What I want to talk about is it's just more criticism of Lamar Jackson. Sarah Ellison said it great, but the reason why people are calling it confusing, they dislike the way that he's going about it, is because he's threatening an entire job place, the NFL agency, basically entire group of people. If Lamar's able to do it without an agent, who's to stop that from other people? And I'm not saying Lamar's doing a bad thing. I think Lamar's doing an amazing thing by doing the negotiations by himself. Do not take whatever I say in this video as me saying that it's a bad thing. I think it's amazing. I think what he's doing is very smart. Lamar Jackson doing this is threatening the jobs of NFL agents, and they don't like that. They talk to their players, and they talk to the players who are in the Players Association and things like that. And they're like, hey, man, this could be a bad thing for Lamar. And they're whispering. They're whispering in the ears of those players. Hey, this could be bad. Because we have no idea what's happening. If Lamar Jackson, this happened with Tom Brady. If Lamar Jackson was to take a cheaper deal, I don't know if he will, but if he were to take a cheaper deal, and let's say he made it a really cheap deal, let's say it was like a $20 million deal, really cheap, right? But for Lamar Jackson, that would be severely underpaid. He could easily get paid double that money. If he takes that deal, that ruins the quarterback market in contracts. And this is what happened with Tom Brady, because Tom Brady has been known for trying to take pay cuts. And yes, the pay cuts aren't that significant, but that's because the Player Association used to have to step in. Because they basically went to Tom Brady and were like, hey, I know you want to take a cheaper deal. However, you are the best player in the world. At that point, they probably weren't saying the best player ever, but they're like, you are a top-tier quarterback. If you are taking these cheap deals, it is going to hurt other quarterbacks. they're not going to be able to get paid as much. You're going to be lowering the bar that quarterbacks get played and hurting the quarterback position in its value, which could then be hurting because everybody knows the quarterback is the most important part of the team. So then it's like, are we going to start paying wide receivers more than quarterbacks? And they're like, no. So then that lowers how much wide receivers are getting paid because you compare it to Tom Brady because he's the best. And it would just start reducing the amount of pay players are getting. And the Players Association had concerns about that. I think they're having those same concerns about Lamar Jackson because they're like, well, if he comes out with a deal that isn't super agent friendly, because it won't be super agent friendly because he doesn't have an agent, it may not have certain perks that agents really like to get for players. I don't know what those could be, but maybe they're like agents really like to have they like a front-loaded contract. They like a back-loaded contract. And if Lamar does something and he sets a new standard, for example, when Patrick Mahomes was getting his contract extension and people were like, well, Patrick Mahomes could be doing something really interesting. And it was talked about possibly Patrick Mahomes takes a percentage of the salary cap type deal. Never seen before, completely unprecedented. And people were like, oh, yeah, maybe he could do that. And that would change the way contracts are done because Patrick Mahomes is the best at what he does now. And people want to look at that and be like, I want to get paid like the guy at the top. Well, if he does that, that changes things. If Lamar does something new, it's going to scare the agents. It's going to scare the players because the players are talking with their agents, and it's going to possibly, I don't know, start a paradigm shift in the way the NFL contracts are done, which good for Lamar because Lamar wants to do what's best for him and what's best for his family. And that is what he's doing. And what's best to win a Super Bowl, I believe, are the three things that he's trying to figure out. I don't think there's really anything else going into the deal. I don't think he's looking at it like I want to scrape every dollar away from the Ravens. And I don't think he's looking at it like I don't want to get paid at all. He wants money. He wants to win. I think he's going to find a good balance. But this idea that there's confusion and people are throwing around all these words because they're scared. They're scared of what's going to happen. And the Players Association has said, like, they've tried to reach out to Lamar multiple times about talking about his contract, and it's not working. Why? Because why would Lamar Jackson talk to all of these people, even though that they are players? Lamar Jackson is friends with other players. He likes other players. But he knows that those other players have agents, and he knows that there's nothing that's like in good heart in the NFL, unfortunately, or most things in sports. Like when players come to talk to you, it's typically, unless you're really good friends, if Hollywood went to talk to Lamar, I think it's fine. I don't think it's like, oh, there's double meaning behind him doing this. But if some random player, let's say Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks, who, as far as I know, hasn't really been like good friends with Lamar since he came into the league or anything like that. But if Russell Wilson was like, hey, Lamar, let's talk about your contract, they'd be like, okay, Russell Wilson's a really good guy. He's a great leader on the Seahawks, but like, why is he trying to talk? It's probably his agent being like, well, you got to talk with Lamar so that when you get your contract, you want to have a better contract and you got to get all these things. There's double meaning. And that's why Lamar's like, no, I don't want to talk with these guys. I want to keep negotiations private. And when the deal is done, the deal is done. And I love that. I think that's amazing. I think what he's doing is so smart because he's really changing the way that the dynamic is between players and the teams. He doesn't want it to be a business. He wants it to be more like a family where you talk directly to, Eric DaCosta. You talk directly with management. You don't say, hey, agent, can you go talk to them about this? And then the agent, because NFL agents have to look out for themselves. The agent hears Lamar say, if Lamar had an agent, Lamar would be like, hey, I kind of want to maybe take a pay cut and I want to, certify that this guy's on the team or whatever. The agent goes in and the agent's like, well, I want a little bit of money. So the agent maybe lessens the I want a pay cut idea. And he's like, yeah, Lamar wants all this money because the agent wants his money or her money. And these types of things that the agents create is they yes, like for example, you think about the NBA and you think about Rich Paul. Rich Paul does everything for LeBron James. He's LeBron James' agent. I believe they're friends in high school. They may have been teammates in high school. I can't remember exactly. But like with Rich Paul, it's always, he's talking with AD. Hey, AD, you should, if you didn't know, he's also Anthony Davis's agent. He's like, you should go to LA. And he's trying to get him. And Rich Paul is doing everything for LeBron. All the people that he does, it's like he's trying to set up for LeBron because LeBron's his guy. LeBron's where he makes a lot of his money. That's the type of thing that we don't want to happen with Lamar, where it's like the agent has other clients and he's trying to help those other clients. For example, if he signed with the agent, I don't know who Patrick Mahomes' agent, but if he was with Patrick Mahomes' agent, maybe the agent's like, hey, he's getting a ton of money for Patrick Mahomes' contract. Maybe he's like, he wants to help Patrick Mahomes and maybe he's good buddies with Patrick Mahomes. Like these types of things are just, they happen in the agent world. And Lamar Jackson is escaping that and setting a new standard for what players can do. And I think it's great. And I think that the hate and criticism is coming from the fact that people are scared of what he's going to do and the shift that he's going to create in the NFL contract negotiation universe. And I think it's amazing. So thank you everybody for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are down below in the comment section down below. And hit the notification bell to get notified. I don't know why I said that. That sounded really weird. Hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see all of you again tomorrow. And make sure to come to the Live with the Viewers on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.